Have you ever been disrespected so deeply that your first instinct was to fight back, to defend yourself, to make sure everyone knew they couldn't treat you that way? That feeling burns, doesn't it? Your chest gets tight, your mind races with all the things you want to say, all the ways you want to strike back and prove your worth. But here's the truth no one tells you. The moment you respond in anger, you give them what they wanted all along. You hand them your power. You let their words control your actions, their disrespect control your peace. And that's exactly why the most powerful thing you can do is stay quiet. Silence is not weakness. It is the discipline of someone who knows their value. It is the choice of a person who refuses to let someone else write their story. When you stay quiet after disrespect, you are not ignoring what happened. You are proving to yourself that their opinion does not define you. You are refusing to let one careless moment of insult dictate the entire direction of your day, your energy, and your future. That choice takes courage, far more courage than firing back ever will. The world will try to convince you that the loudest person wins. But the truth is, the loudest person is usually the most desperate. Silence, on the other hand, is power under control. It unsettles the one who disrespected you because they expected a reaction. They wanted you to lose your composure. They wanted to see you break, but you didn't. You kept your peace. And in doing so, you showed yourself just how strong you really are. You are not on this earth to prove your worth to every person who misunderstands you, every person who doubts you, every person who tries to tear you down. You are here to grow, to rise, to build a life so strong that disrespect becomes nothing more than background noise. Staying quiet allows you to rise above the moment and focus on what truly matters. Your future, your goals, your inner peace. And if you can master this one decision to stay quiet instead of reacting, everything changes. You stop wasting energy on battles that don't matter. You stop letting anger make your choices. You stop living on defense and start living with purpose. That's when you feel unstoppable. That's when you discover a new level of peace that no insult, no betrayal, no cheap words can shake. If you stay with me until the end, I'm going to show you how to turn moments of disrespect into fuel for your growth, how to protect your energy without losing your voice, how to walk away with your dignity intact, not because you are weak, but because you are too focused on building something bigger than the opinions of those who tried to bring you down. Your silence will become your strength. Your control will become your weapon. And soon you will look back at moments like this and realize they were never obstacles. They were opportunities to prove to yourself just how unshakable you really are. When someone disrespects you, they are revealing far more about themselves than they are about you. Their words come from their pain, their fear, their insecurity. People who are at peace with themselves do not go around cutting others down. They do not feel the need to insult, to humiliate, to make someone else feel small. When you remember this, it changes the way you see the moment. You stop seeing their attack as a reflection of your worth and start seeing it as a reflection of their struggle. And in that shift, you regain control. Quiet is not just about holding back your words. It is about holding on to your power. When you refuse to engage, you are telling yourself that your energy is too valuable to waste. You are choosing to invest it where it matters most. The person who insulted you will go home with the same anger, the same emptiness that made them lash out in the first place. But you will go home with your peace intact, your focus sharp, your future still yours to shape. Every time you practice this, you are building a kind of inner strength that no one can take from you. You are rewiring your brain to stop reacting on impulse and start responding with intention. Neuroscience shows that when you pause before reacting, you interrupt the cycle of anger that usually drives us to make decisions we regret. That pause is where growth happens. That pause is where you take back your life. Think about how many times in the past anger has cost you, how many words you wish you could take back, how many situations became worse because you let someone pull you into their chaos. Silence stops that cycle. It keeps you from adding more fuel to a fire that should have burned out before it even began. This is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about choosing the response that leads to strength rather than regret. Your quietness will speak louder than any words ever could. It sends a message to everyone watching, and most importantly, to yourself. I am in control. I will not be moved by this. I will not let my emotions run my life. The respect you begin to feel for yourself when you do this is life-changing. You start to trust yourself again. You start to believe in your ability to handle anything. And that self-respect becomes the foundation for everything you build next. This is the mindset that separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. People who let disrespect control them stay trapped in cycles of drama, wasting time, wasting energy, never moving forward. People who learn to stay quiet break free. They create space for growth, for new opportunities, for deeper peace. They stop being controlled by the world around them and start creating the world within them. That is where real power begins, and that is what you are capable of right now, in this very moment, if you choose silence over reaction. The moment you choose silence, something incredible begins to happen inside you. Your mind, instead of being flooded with anger, becomes clear. You start to see the situation for what it really is, a test of your discipline, a chance to prove to yourself that you are no longer controlled by the opinions of others. You start breathing differently. You feel grounded instead of scattered. That calm you create within yourself is not just emotional, it is physical. Your heart slows, your body relaxes, your mind starts to focus. This is the state where your best decisions are made. This is where real power lives. And as you stand in that quiet strength, you begin to notice something else. The person who disrespected loses their control over you. They wanted to shake you, to get a reaction, to see you crumble. But instead, they are left staring at someone who cannot be moved. They may even feel uncomfortable with their own actions because your calm forces them to face themselves. Your silence becomes a mirror they cannot escape. This is why staying quiet is not about letting them win. It is about choosing a different battlefield, one they cannot even enter. When you refuse to react, you rise above the moment. You start playing a longer game, a wiser game, one that leads to growth instead of destruction. You are no longer just surviving an insult, you are transforming it into fuel. Psychologists call this emotional regulation, the ability to manage what you feel instead of letting it manage you. People who master this skill are more successful, more respected, and more at peace with their lives. They do not spend their energy fighting battles that do not matter. They save it for building what does. You can feel that difference when you meet someone who has mastered themselves. They carry a quiet power, a presence that cannot be ignored. They do not need to shout. They do not need to prove. They simply are. This is what you are becoming each time you choose silence. Stronger, calmer, harder to shake. You are turning disrespect into a workout for your character, and every rep is making you more unshakable. Every moment you stay quiet when you could lash out is a moment you take back control over your destiny. And soon, silence will not feel like a struggle. It will feel like freedom. It will feel like peace. You will look at situations that once set your heart racing and feel nothing but clarity. You will walk away without anger burning in your chest, without replaying the words over and over in your mind. You will simply move forward, still focused, still in control. That is the reward waiting for you when you stay quiet after disrespect. The reward of a mind that cannot be disturbed in a future that no one else can decide for you. There will be moments when staying quiet feels impossible. The disrespect will cut deep and everything in you will want to fight back to defend yourself, to make them feel the pain they caused you. This is where the real battle is fought, not with them, but within you. The urge to react is powerful because your mind is wired to protect your pride, to shield your sense of worth. But your worth is not something that can be taken by words. It was never in their hands to begin with. It has always been within you. And silence is how you prove to yourself that no one has the power to touch it. You are not ignoring the pain. You are transforming it. Every second you resist the urge to lash out, you are reclaiming control over your emotions. That control is what separates those who stay stuck in cycles of conflict from those who grow stronger with every challenge. You are teaching yourself that you are not a slave to impulse. You are building a mind that is steady under pressure. And the more you do this, the more your confidence grows. You start to feel a quiet pride, not the pride that demands validation, but the kind that comes from knowing you have conquered yourself. This is the kind of strength that commands respect without ever asking for it. People may not say it out loud, but they feel it when they are around you. They notice that you do not get pulled into drama, that you do not waste your time trading insults or defending yourself against petty attacks. They see that your focus is somewhere higher, on something bigger. That is the kind of presence that makes people think twice before crossing you. It is not fear you inspire, it is respect. And something else happens too. The less you react to disrespect, the more selective you become about where you put your energy. You stop letting negative people take up space in your life. You stop chasing apologies from those who will never give them. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you start channeling that energy into building the life you want, into chasing goals that matter, into becoming someone who is too busy growing to be distracted by noise. This choice does not just change one moment. It begins to change the course of your entire life. You start to feel lighter because you are no longer carrying every insult with you. You start to feel clearer because your mind is not cluttered with imaginary arguments and regrets. You start to feel stronger because you have proven to yourself that you can handle anything without losing yourself in the process. That is real freedom, not being untouched by the world, but being untouchable in spirit. That is what staying quiet after disrespect gives you. It gives you your power back. It gives you yourself back. And once you taste that kind of strength, you will never want to go back to the old way of living. Every time you stay quiet in the face of disrespect, you are training yourself to see beyond the immediate hurt. You begin to understand that the world is full of people who will try to push you, pull you, and test your limits. Some will insult you, some will doubt you, and some will try to diminish your light. But none of that has the power to define you unless you allow it. Choosing silence is the act of taking back your definition of yourself. It is a declaration that no one else gets to write your story, that no one else decides your worth. Silence creates space. Space to think clearly, space to breathe deeply, space to rise above the chaos. When you stop reacting, your mind sharpens. You start to see patterns that were invisible when you were fueled by anger. You notice which battles are worth your energy and which are distractions. You start to see the people, the places, and the situations that are truly aligned with your growth, and you begin to invest in them instead. Every moment you hold back your reaction, you are building a fortress around your mind. A fortress that no insult, no provocation, no negativity can breach. There is a subtle, almost invisible power that comes with this practice. Others may not immediately recognize it, but it changes the way they interact with you. They notice your calm in moments of tension. They feel the weight of your presence, the confidence that does not need to speak. Your silence becomes a force of influence without aggression, a quiet authority that commands respect without ever demanding it. You learn that being strong is not about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. Your emotions will still rise. You will still feel the sting of disrespect. That is natural. But the difference now is that you are no longer a slave to those feelings. You feel them, acknowledge them, and then choose the response that elevates you rather than diminishes you. That choice, repeated over and over, rewires your brain. Neuroscience confirms that we grow stronger by controlling our impulses, not by giving in to them. Every moment you resist the urge to react becomes a neural pathway to strength, clarity, and resilience. And as this becomes a habit, you will notice a shift in your life that is both subtle and profound. You begin to carry yourself differently. You walk with a quiet confidence, an unshakable sense of self. People are drawn to that energy. Opportunities start to appear that never could have when you were constantly reacting, constantly defending, constantly proving. You are no longer defined by the insults thrown at you, but by the calm, focused power you carry within. Staying quiet is not passive. It is an active choice, a choice to be deliberate, to be intentional, to protect your mind, your energy, and your future. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you strengthen the foundation of your life. You are no longer scattered by petty conflicts. You are no longer dragged into unnecessary battles. You are standing tall, unshakable, and fully in command of the most important thing you will ever own, yourself. The more you practice staying quiet after disrespect, the more you begin to understand that your true power is not in winning arguments or defending your pride. Your power is in choosing who you allow to occupy your mind, your emotions, and your energy. Each time you refuse to react, you reclaim a piece of yourself that was previously scattered, previously lost to impulses and anger. You are no longer a puppet of someone else's words. You are the master of your own life. And that realization is more liberating than any momentary victory ever could be. When you stop reacting, you start to notice how much energy you were wasting on things that did not serve you. You begin to see the patterns in human behavior that used to trap you. People seeking validation, people feeding their own insecurities by putting others down, situations that thrive on chaos. Once you recognize these patterns, you no longer fall prey to them. You see the provocations for what they are, distractions. And with that clarity, you make a conscious choice to direct your energy toward growth, toward goals that matter, toward building a life that is strong, purposeful, and unstoppable. Your silence becomes your shield and your weapon at the same time. It shields you from unnecessary pain and regret. It protects the space you need to grow. And it becomes a weapon in the sense that it changes the way the world perceives you. People notice the calm in your presence, the unwavering strength that does not seek to dominate, but does not tolerate weakness either. You do not need to prove anything, and that is exactly what makes you unshakable. They wanted chaos from you, but instead you gave them peace. That peace is a reflection of your strength, and it cannot be taken, stolen, or diminished. Psychology shows that self-control is one of the greatest predictors of success and fulfillment in life. When you practice restraint, you are training your brain to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. You are creating a mental habit that allows you to navigate challenges with clarity and confidence. This is why those who can stay quiet in the face of disrespect often rise faster, think clearer, and live with less regret. They are not reacting to the world. They are shaping their own reality, moment by moment. The moments when you feel the strongest urge to retaliate are the moments that define you. They are tests of your discipline, tests of your focus, tests of how much you value your own peace over the fleeting satisfaction of proving someone wrong. Every time you choose silence, you are rewriting your identity. You are telling yourself and the world that your life is too valuable to be derailed by someone else's inability to respect you. Eventually, this practice becomes more than a habit. It becomes a way of life. You carry yourself differently. You think differently. You act with intention instead of reaction. People sense this power in you, whether they consciously understand it or not. They see that you are not controlled by insults, drama, or disrespect. You are free in a way that few ever experience. And that freedom is the ultimate reward. It is proof that the strongest person in any room is not the loudest, but the one who commands themselves, and in that command shapes a life that cannot be shaken. There is a profound strength in choosing silence, a strength that cannot be measured by others, only felt by you. Every time you hold back a reaction, every time you refuse to let disrespect dictate your behavior, you are building an unshakable foundation within yourself. This foundation is made of clarity, discipline, and self-respect. It is invisible to those who seek to pull you into chaos, yet it is stronger than anything they could ever throw at you. You begin to realize that the world will always test you, but no test is greater than the one you pass by controlling yourself. When you resist the impulse to retaliate, you give yourself the gift of perspective. You see situations more clearly. You notice the intentions behind words and actions. You separate truth from projection, reality from ego. And in that space, you find freedom. Freedom from the need to justify yourself. Freedom from the need to be understood by those who refuse to understand. Freedom from the constant drain of anger and frustration. Your mind becomes sharper, your focus clearer, and your energy more powerful. You are no longer scattered by petty conflicts. You are concentrated, purposeful, and unstoppable. The courage to stay silent in the face of disrespect is a declaration. It tells yourself that you value your peace above temporary satisfaction. It tells the world that your life, your growth, and your energy are not negotiable. And that courage is contagious. Others begin to sense it in your presence. They feel the weight of your self-control, the strength of your focus, and the quiet power you carry. It changes how they interact with you, how they perceive you, and more importantly, how you perceive yourself. You no longer seek validation from anyone. Your validation comes from your own mastery over your mind and emotions. Psychologically, controlling your reactions rewires your brain. Every moment of restraint strengthens neural pathways associated with self-discipline, resilience, and emotional intelligence. You are literally training yourself to rise above chaos, to respond with strategy instead of impulse. This is why the most successful and respected people are not always the loudest. They are the ones who have mastered themselves. They have learned to navigate conflict without losing composure, to convert challenges into opportunities, and to maintain focus even when provoked. Every moment of disrespect becomes an opportunity to grow stronger. Every insult becomes a chance to reinforce your control. Every attempt to provoke you becomes a test that you pass with dignity. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You no longer feel the need to prove anything to anyone. You no longer give your energy to those who are unworthy of it. Instead, you save it for what matters: your vision, your goals, your peace, and your growth. When you stay quiet, you claim a power that no words, no insults, and no disrespect can ever take from you. That power is freedom, clarity, and self-respect. It is the ability to move through life without being shaken, to focus on what truly matters, and to rise above the noise that seeks to distract you. And once you experience this, once you feel the strength of controlling yourself when others try to break you, you realize that silence is not absence. It is presence, it is mastery, and it is the key to becoming unstoppable. When you stay quiet after disrespect, you begin to understand that your reactions are not just about the moment, they're about the life you are building. Every word you withhold, every impulse you control is an investment in your future self. The peace you protect now becomes the clarity you will carry into every decision, every relationship, and every opportunity ahead. You realize that the people who try to provoke you are insignificant compared to the life you are creating, the goals you are chasing, and the strength you are cultivating. Silence is the ultimate expression of self-respect. It tells the world that your energy is valuable and that you will not give it away freely. It tells yourself that your mind is sacred and that you refuse to let anyone pollute it with negativity or anger. The person who disrespected you may believe they have shaken you, but in truth, they have revealed your opportunity. They have given you a chance to show yourself how strong you are, how disciplined you can be, and how unshakable your spirit is when it is grounded in control rather than chaos. Every time you choose silence, you build a reservoir of power that cannot be taken from you. This power is quiet, steady, and invisible to those who are used to measuring strength with noise and reaction. They cannot see it, but they feel it. They sense a presence that is calm yet unyielding, a mind that is focused yet unshakable. Your silence becomes a signal that you are no longer a participant in petty conflicts, that you are on a higher plane where only your growth and your goals matter. Psychologists have found that the ability to control emotional responses is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success and fulfillment. People who master this skill are less reactive, more strategic, and more capable of navigating challenges with clarity and precision. By staying quiet after disrespect, you are training yourself to respond rather than react, to act with intention rather than emotion. You are cultivating a mental resilience that will protect you from distractions, manipulations, and the wasted energy of unnecessary battles. The process is transformative. The more you practice, the less the world can shake you. Disrespect no longer triggers anger, frustration, or the need to justify yourself. You begin to see insults for what they are, reflections of other people's limitations, not definitions of your value. Your focus shifts from proving yourself to anyone else to building yourself, strengthening yourself, and preserving your peace. Each moment of silence becomes a building block in a fortress of self-mastery. And that is where the true reward lies. The reward is not in the absence of disrespect. It is in your response to it. It is in the ability to maintain clarity when others are chaotic, to preserve energy when others are reactive, and to protect your mind when others try to invade it. This is freedom. This is strength. This is the kind of power that makes you unstoppable. The more you hold your tongue, the more the world begins to respect the quiet strength that cannot be shaken. And the more you come to respect yourself for becoming someone who is truly untouchable. Every time you remain silent after being disrespected, you reinforce an invisible power that cannot be challenged. It is a power that grows quietly, steadily, and without announcement until it becomes undeniable. This power is rooted in self-mastery, in a choice to rise above immediate emotion and act with purpose. It is the understanding that no insult, no attack, and no provocation has the authority to dictate your mood, your thoughts, or your future. You start to see that the people who attempt to bring you down are not threats. They are opportunities. Opportunities to prove to yourself that you are stronger than any external circumstance. Silence is not inaction. It is deliberate strength. It is the decision to preserve your energy for things that truly matter. When you choose not to react, you are telling yourself that your focus, your peace, and your goals are far more important than winning a momentary argument or proving someone wrong. You are prioritizing the life you want to build over the chaos that others try to impose. Every second you hold back, you are cultivating resilience, discipline, and clarity. You are training yourself to operate from a place of power rather than reaction, and that shift changes everything. The psychological impact of this practice cannot be overstated. Each act of restraint strengthens your emotional intelligence, teaching you to understand the intentions behind words and actions and to respond with insight instead of impulse. You start to recognize patterns of negativity, manipulation, and provocation. You become aware of what deserves your attention and what does not. Your mind becomes sharper, your decisions more precise, and your presence more commanding. People sense this transformation. They may not understand it, but they feel it. Your calm becomes a force that silently asserts control over situations without the need for confrontation. Choosing silence also rewires your relationship with yourself. You stop measuring your worth through the lens of others' opinions. You no longer seek validation from those who are incapable of giving it. You begin to rely on your own judgment, your own sense of value, and your own understanding of right and wrong. This is freedom, the freedom to exist without fear of judgment, without the need to defend yourself, and without the burden of unnecessary conflict. The quieter you remain, the stronger you become, and the more unshakable your foundation grows. Every moment of silence reinforces a profound truth. The strongest people are not those who shout the loudest, but those who maintain control when the world attempts to provoke them. They are not the ones who dominate through words or aggression, but the ones who master themselves and direct their energy toward purpose, growth, and impact. Each insult becomes a test, and each test you pass without reaction is a victory over the chaos that seeks to control you. By embracing silence, you are not just avoiding conflict, you are creating a life where your peace is untouchable, your focus is unbreakable, and your power is undeniable. You are learning to respond with strategy, clarity, and strength, rather than reacting with emotion. And as you continue on this path, you discover that the world can no longer unsettle you, because your power lies not in the absence of challenges, but in your unwavering command over your own mind and spirit. When you choose silence after disrespect, you step into a space that few people ever access, a space where your thoughts are your own, your energy is protected, and your focus is uncompromised. In that space, you begin to understand that control is not about forcing outcomes, it is about mastering yourself. You discover that the world cannot take your peace unless you allow it to. The chaos, the insults, the attempts to provoke you, they exist outside of you. They only have the power you give them. And when you give them none, you become untouchable. Silence is not a pause, it is an act of creation. With every reaction you avoid, you create room to think, to reflect, and to act with precision. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions by anger or frustration. You are no longer wasting your energy on battles that do not matter. Instead, you are channeling that energy into growth, focus, and purpose. You begin to see that the world's attempts to provoke you are actually gifts. They are reminders that your mind and your will are yours to control, and they provide the perfect opportunity to demonstrate your inner strength. Your calm becomes a weapon, not against others, but for yourself. It allows you to act strategically, to speak only when your words add value, and to maintain authority over your own emotions. You will notice that people respond differently to you when you do not react impulsively. They sense the strength that comes from restraint. They feel the confidence that comes from self-mastery. They recognize, even if only subconsciously, that you are operating from a place of power rather than fear, and that presence changes the dynamics around you without a single word being spoken. The scientific truth behind this is compelling. Every moment of restraint strengthens the neural pathways that govern emotional regulation and decision-making. You are literally training your brain to rise above instinctive reactions, to think clearly under pressure, and to act from a place of strategy rather than emotion. This is why those who master silence in the face of provocation consistently achieve greater success, maintain stronger relationships, and live with more peace. They are not controlled by the world. They shape it by controlling themselves. Choosing silence also cultivates an unshakable self-respect. You stop measuring yourself through the lens of others' opinions. You no longer seek approval or validation from people who are incapable of offering it. You rely on your own judgment, your own standards, and your own understanding of value. This is the essence of freedom, the freedom to exist without being tethered to the whims, insults, or expectations of others. Each time you hold your tongue, you reinforce that freedom, and with it, your inner power grows. By embracing silence, you are transforming disrespect into fuel for your growth. Every insult becomes a lesson, every provocation an opportunity, and every attempt to shake you a test of your strength. You begin to operate on a higher level where nothing external can disturb your peace, cloud your judgment, or derail your focus. You discover that real power is not in winning arguments or proving others wrong. It is in mastering yourself, protecting your energy, and moving through life with clarity, purpose, and unshakable strength. When you commit to silence in the face of disrespect, you claim an inner authority that cannot be shaken. You realize that the only person you truly need to answer to is yourself. Every reaction you hold back, every impulse you restrain, is a declaration that your life is governed by your choices, not by the opinions or actions of others. This is not submission, it is mastery. It is understanding that true strength is measured by your ability to remain grounded when everything around you tries to provoke chaos. The world will always attempt to test you, but your response or lack of it defines the trajectory of your life. Silence allows you to operate from a higher plane of clarity. When you resist the urge to react, your mind becomes a weapon of focus and precision. You are able to see the patterns others miss, recognize the intentions behind actions, and make decisions that align with your long-term goals rather than short-term impulses. Every insult, every attempt to provoke becomes a tool for sharpening your awareness, strengthening your discipline, and deepening your understanding of what truly deserves your energy. You start to distinguish between noise and substance, and your life begins to move forward with purpose rather than distraction. The people who attempt to bring you down are revealing themselves through their actions. They are showing you where their insecurities lie, where their fears dominate, and where their limitations end. By staying quiet, you acknowledge that their chaos is theirs to carry, not yours. You remove yourself from the emotional pull that keeps so many trapped in cycles of conflict. You begin to see that the only person capable of controlling your peace is you. And with that realization comes liberation. You are no longer a participant in their drama. You are a master of your own existence. Each act of restraint builds emotional resilience. Psychology shows that the ability to regulate your emotions is one of the strongest predictors of success and fulfillment. When you remain calm under provocation, you are literally training your brain to respond with intelligence, clarity, and strategy. Your impulses are no longer controlling you. Your intentions are. You start to operate with foresight, choosing actions that serve your growth rather than your ego. You become a person who does not need to defend, explain, or prove themselves. You become untouchable not because the world cannot challenge you, but because you have built an unshakable fortress within. The more you practice this, the more your self-respect grows. You stop looking outward for validation, recognition, or approval. You rely on your own assessment of your worth, and that reliance is liberating. The quieter you remain, the louder your presence becomes. Others begin to sense the strength you carry, the confidence that comes from self-mastery, and the unyielding calm that defines you. You do not need to shout, argue, or retaliate. Your silence communicates everything necessary. By embracing quiet after disrespect, you are transforming adversity into empowerment. Each insult becomes a lesson, each provocation a test, and each challenge an opportunity to strengthen your mind and spirit. You begin to realize that the most powerful people in the world are not those who react, but those who respond with precision, clarity, and control. This is the path to unshakable strength, undeniable influence, and inner freedom. The choice to stay quiet is not passive. It is active mastery, and it is the key to becoming the person you are always meant to be. When you master the art of silence in the face of disrespect, you step into a realm where your power is entirely your own. You begin to understand that the world cannot diminish your value unless you allow it. Every moment you resist reacting is a declaration that your peace, your clarity, and your purpose are untouchable. The people who try to provoke you are irrelevant to the life you are building. Their words are not chains, they are opportunities to strengthen your control, your resilience, and your presence. The strength that grows in those moments is quiet but unstoppable, forming the core of a person who cannot be shaken by trivial attacks or fleeting judgment. Silence becomes your strategy. When you hold back a response, you create space for thought, for reflection, and for discernment. Your mind is no longer cluttered with impulse or anger. It becomes a precise instrument, able to assess situations with clarity and respond with intention rather than reaction. You start to recognize the difference between what deserves your attention and what does not. You begin to conserve your energy for the battles that truly matter, those aligned with your growth, your vision, and your purpose. Every provocation that you meet with calm instead of reaction strengthens this ability, turning a simple choice into a transformative habit. The act of remaining quiet also shifts the way the world interacts with you. Others sense the strength that comes from self-mastery. They notice your calm presence, your unwavering focus, and your refusal to be manipulated by external chaos. Your silence communicates authority without aggression, influence without confrontation, and power without display. People may try to test you, but your composed response leaves them unsettled, not because you have provoked fear, but because you have demonstrated control. Control over yourself is the ultimate authority, and those who can wield it quietly hold a power few understand. Psychology confirms that emotional regulation is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. By choosing silence over reaction, you are literally training your brain to operate from a higher level. You are rewiring yourself to respond with strategy, intelligence, and composure. Your impulses no longer control you, your intentions do. This creates a life where decisions are not dictated by anger or frustration, where your path forward is determined by clarity, focus, and self-discipline. Each moment of restraint reinforces your mental strength, making you sharper, wiser, and more resilient with every challenge you face. Silence also deepens your self-respect. When you stop reacting to disrespect, you stop measuring your worth against others' opinions. You rely on your own judgment, your own sense of value, and your own understanding of your potential. This shift is liberating. You no longer seek validation from those incapable of providing it. Instead, you draw confidence from your mastery over yourself, and that confidence radiates in everything you do. The quieter you remain, the more undeniable your presence becomes, commanding attention without a single word. Choosing to remain quiet transforms adversity into empowerment. Disrespect, insults, and provocations become fuel for your growth. They are no longer obstacles, but opportunities to strengthen your discipline, sharpen your focus, and cultivate inner peace. You begin to realize that the greatest power does not lie in reaction or retaliation. It lies in self-mastery, in the unwavering control of your mind, and in the ability to rise above chaos with dignity, clarity, and unshakable strength. Every moment you choose silence brings you closer to becoming the person you were destined to be. Every time you choose silence, you are reclaiming control over your life. You're making a conscious decision that no external force, no insult, no disrespect, no provocation will dictate your mood, your focus, or your energy. This is not weakness, it is strength refined. It is the understanding that true power lies not in the volume of your words, but in the control of your mind. When you remain calm, when you refuse to react, you are not surrendering. You are ascending. You are positioning yourself above the noise, above the chaos, and above the limitations that others try to impose on you. Silence allows your mind to operate with clarity and precision. When you are no longer reacting emotionally, your thoughts become sharper, your perception keener, and your decisions more intentional. You begin to see the patterns in human behavior that once caught you off guard. You recognize the insecurities, the fears, and the limitations behind the actions of those who seek to provoke you. And with that recognition comes freedom. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. You no longer give your energy to people or situations that are unworthy of it. You are free to focus entirely on your growth, your goals, and your purpose. The more you practice silence, the more resilient you become. Emotional discipline transforms into a superpower that cannot be challenged by words or actions. You begin to understand that the world cannot disturb your peace unless you allow it. The insults, the attempts to belittle, the provocations, they are not reflections of your worth, they are mirrors of someone else's struggle. Each time you remain silent, you assert your mastery over yourself, and remind the world that your life is governed by your choices, not by the chaos around you. Psychologists call this self-regulation, and it is one of the most powerful predictors of success, influence, and fulfillment. By controlling your response, you create space for intentional action. You build neural pathways that strengthen patience, foresight, and emotional intelligence. You train yourself to respond strategically rather than react impulsively. Each moment of quiet strengthens not only your mind, but your character. You become someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who cannot be shaken, and someone whose presence commands respect without needing to demand it. Silence also deepens self-respect. When you stop reacting to disrespect, you stop measuring your worth through the opinions of others. You begin to rely entirely on your own judgment and your own sense of value. You discover that the strongest validation comes from within, from the knowledge that you are in control, that you are disciplined, and that you are unshakable. That self-respect radiates outward. Others sense it, whether consciously or unconsciously, and they respond differently to you. They feel the calm authority, the quiet strength, and the unwavering focus that defines someone who is truly untouchable. Choosing silence is not a passive act, it is an active strategy for life. Every insult, every provocation, every attempt to shake you becomes fuel for your growth, a test of your mastery, and a reminder of the freedom that comes from self-control. By remaining silent, you are not hiding, you are ascending. You are rising above distraction, above chaos, and above the limitations others try to impose. You are claiming the kind of power that cannot be taken, challenged, or diminished. This is the power of self-mastery, and it is the foundation of the unstoppable, unshakable person you are becoming. When you commit to silence in the face of disrespect, you are making a choice that few have the courage to make. You are choosing your peace over chaos, your growth over petty conflict, and your strength over temporary satisfaction. This is the kind of decision that transforms a life. It is not easy because your instincts will scream at you to respond, to defend yourself, to strike back. But true mastery comes from overriding that instinct. It comes from understanding that your energy is too valuable to give away, that your mind is too precious to let others pollute, and that your life is too important to waste on reactions that do not serve you. Silence sharpens your focus. When you refuse to react, your mind becomes a tool of clarity rather than a battlefield of emotion. You begin to see situations more clearly, to understand intentions behind words, and to recognize which conflicts are worth your attention and which are distractions. You develop the ability to respond with strategy rather than emotion, with precision rather than impulse. Every moment you remain calm strengthens this skill, transforming what once felt like restraint into instinctive control. You are no longer a passenger in your own life. You are the driver, fully aware, fully in command, and fully unstoppable. The power of silence extends beyond just your own mind. It shifts the energy of the people around you. Those who attempt to provoke you sense that their tactics have no effect. They may feel unsettled, confused, or even intimidated, not because you seek to dominate, but because your control is undeniable. Your calm presence communicates more than words ever could. It signals strength, authority, and self-possession. You become someone whose energy cannot be hijacked, whose focus cannot be broken, and whose life cannot be derailed by petty provocations. Science supports this approach. Emotional regulation is one of the strongest predictors of success, resilience, and fulfillment. By choosing silence over reaction, you are literally rewiring your brain to operate at a higher level. You are strengthening neural pathways that allow for clarity, patience, foresight, and intentional action. Impulsive reactions diminish power. Strategic restraint amplifies it. Each time you resist the urge to respond to disrespect, you are cultivating a mind that is disciplined, calm, and unshakable. You are building a life that is directed by purpose, not provocation. Self-respect grows exponentially through this practice. When you stop reacting to disrespect, you stop letting others define your worth. You begin to rely on your own standards, your own judgment, and your own sense of value. This is the foundation of inner freedom, the kind that cannot be influenced, manipulated, or undermined. Your confidence grows not from approval, but from self-mastery. You begin to carry a presence that commands respect without speaking, a quiet authority rooted in the knowledge that your life is yours alone to control. Every moment of silence transforms adversity into opportunity. Every insult becomes a reminder of your strength. Every provocation a test of your mastery. And every attempt to shake you a chance to rise above. You are no longer a participant in chaos. You are a force of calm, clarity, and intentional power. The decision to stay quiet is not passive. It is the highest form of action, the ultimate exercise of control, and the foundation of becoming someone who is unstoppable, unshakable, and completely untouchable.